You're muted.
Supposed to unmute me right away. But what's up and what's going on, fellow fanatics? We appreciate you guys throwing up, coming into the stream. It is another week of news with you guys, and some of this news is from last week since we missed Friday. Some of the things, actually, I don't think anything is really from today. It's been a kind of slow news day. But as far as news goes, we do have some things to discuss with you guys and get into all those things that we all like to talk about. Once we get done with that, we'll of course go into our Q&A portion of the stream where we talk to you guys, answer you guys' questions, read you guys' comments, hang out with you guys for a little bit. And then of course, we will, got a blast, get on out of here. Then we'll be back on Tuesday. So we are going to get into all that. The topics for today are going to be everything we currently know about Vision Quest and how people are seemingly thinking out there in the internet that this might be one of Marvel's, just like all the other WandaVision shows, top Disney Plus show. And I'm not saying that as far as top Disney Plus show in your opinion. I'm talking about top Disney Plus show as far as ratings and overall.
Like the business analytics of it all.
Yeah, and somewhat for the people that have liked it, because Agatha did pop off regardless of feelings. We'll talk about the Fantastic Four and how the Fantastic Four had test screenings over this past weekend and how they were said to be mid and meh. So we're going to talk about that with that film coming out next month. We are also going to get into why Marvel Studios is not going to be attending San Diego Comic-Con this year. It's something that truly shocked me when I first heard, but obviously in time it does make sense, but we'll get into that. And then the last thing that we're going to talk about is just going to be with San Diego Comic-Con being, or Hall H being skipped over by Marvel this year. What does that mean with everything that we've heard? And I haven't heard anything. I am not coming with a scoop. I'm not coming with anything. What does that mean for all the rumors that we've been hearing about Recast T'Challa and everything up until San Diego Comic-Con into Doomsday, Secret Wars, and what that means for the future of the character, or what that could potentially mean? I have no scoop, so I can't tell you what it definitively means, what it could potentially mean for the character's future in the MCU. So before we get into all of that, again, appreciate everybody coming in, everybody that's in the chat, everybody that's going to be coming in. If you haven't liked this video, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that. Andre, appreciate you being here. Kevin coming in with 3 comments already. We got Groovy, appreciate you. Chi-Town, appreciate you. Naries, Ricardo, Professor Film Fan, Lawrence, and we got down there Katrina Richards, appreciate you guys.
Hello.
Everyone being here and everybody that's in the chat that has not commented, appreciate every single one of you. All right, Corey, before we get into it, how are you? And to Jinx, appreciate you, bro. How were you since the last time we saw you last week?
Same old. Living the American dream,
Feel it.
Yep, working. What about you? How are you doing?
Same old. Working. So grateful to not, I say this every time, to not be beholden to a 9 to 5, but still working. So gotta pay bills and shit. So
right,
very grateful, and I'm ready for my schedule to change right now. I'm having to get up super early, but about to get this second car here in a couple, hopefully next week. Hopefully by the end of this week. We should have that car. Yeah, and then my schedule in the mornings will change to where I'll have my schedule. My days will be a lot smoother. So yeah, after that, then we'll be happy. All right, let's go ahead and get into everything that we're going to get to today. What are we doing here? All right, here we go. All right, let's start with everything we know about Vision Quest. So Vision Quest is, correct me if I'm wrong, the next thing after Fantastic Four. Well, not after Fantastic Four, I'm sorry. We do have Ironheart that comes out this month. It is currently so Ironheart does come out the end of this month. I believe it's the 24th of this month. We also know that after Ironheart, with the most recent news of Doomsday being pushed back, unless I'm missing something in between, I think Wonder Man and some others, Eyes of Wakanda, I'm not really counting some of those things, but the next really big Marvel television series in the eyes of viewers, I guess, is going to be Vision Quest. So Vision Quest, we know, is a spinoff of a spinoff, and it is going to take place with White Vision. Now, I've not seen White Vision since 2021. when he had the realization that he was Vision and blasted through the roof, and we haven't seen him since. We've heard some things about what Vision Quest is going to be about. We know, well, if you watched Agatha, or if you didn't watch Agatha, you might have seen online that we know that at the end of Agatha, they said, let's go find Tommy. So we know that Tommy is supposed to be cast in this show. As far as when Joe Locke was cast as Wiccan for the Agatha show, they had him under another name. And it seems like that is kind of what they're doing with this actor, who fans are speculating who it may be. I forget his name. But that is out there. They're using a code name for him as for Tommy as well. We've heard that Ultron is also going to be in the series. James Spader is going to be returning. Jocasta is going to be in the series. And we also know that from leaks and rumors, this is not confirmed by Marvel or anything like that, that Viz and his, I'm forgetting Vision's son's name, are also going to, it's Vivian and Viz, are also going to be in the show as well. So there's a lot going on in Vision Quest right now, but this is seemingly everything we know. It says, let's start down here. When we last saw White Vision, he had just left Wanda's hex, his original memories restored by the vision created within. However, his emotional state remained ambiguous. Does he possess any capacity for human feelings? The mystery lies at the heart of Vision Quest, also referred to as Untitled Vision Series, which will continue his journey of finding his identity, memory, and humanity. And this is who we know, obviously, is, and that's the guy right there that they're thinking is, that's him. So maybe he is officially cast. I don't know if this is just still the rumored stuff. Maybe he is officially cast.
Like a mock-up or something like that.
This is him right here. Yeah. So they've got Paul Bettany, and as we know, Paul Bettany is going to be coming back as Vision. Can't pronounce his name. I'm not going to butcher it, but this is the kid in the middle here that they're thinking is going to be Tommy. It says, is a mysterious addition to the Vision Quest cast. According to Deadline, he'll be playing the character named Tucker. That's the code name there, I guess they're using. Okay. But there's a strong possibility that the name is a placeholder or a misdirect. This wouldn't be the first time Marvel has kept a character true identity under wraps. And Agatha Alon Joe Locke was credited as Teen before being revealed as Billy Maximoff / Billy Kaplan, the reincarnated son of Wanda and Vision. Given the precedent, there's substantial speculation that Malika could be playing either Billy's twin brother Tommy or perhaps Vin, because they're obviously, like I said, rumored to be in the show as well, a synthezoid son of Vision created in the comics. So I think it's probably Tommy, seeing as they're going to go find Tommy, and this has to revolve around.
Kind of segues into that. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's more Tommy.
Yeah.
Than anything.
Yeah. And they've got here, obviously, James Spader coming back as Ultron. And then we've got Tanaya Miller, who was just recently cast and confirmed, I believe, by the Hollywood Reporter to be playing Jocasta. Let's see. Who else we got? Oh, is that all we know right now? Yes, as far as the cast goes and everything else. So the show is supposed to be about Vision obviously regaining his humanity. And originally at one point they were going to tie all these Stark Industry things into it. But after that went awry and plans changed, obviously, with a lot of the Stark Tech stuff. The show has changed. So they've added Ultron and a few other things. So what we do know right now is that Viz, Vivian, Tommy, Ultron, Jocasta, and a few others are supposedly going to be in the show, and it is going to be a search for Tommy, but as Vision obviously regains his humanity and things like that. Now, what I did say the last time we talked about this is I hope it's not one of those things where we are watching Vision have a new life, and as far as like how WandaVision started, where they're playing house with the kids, if Vivian and Viz are really in it. I don't want to see a House Vision type series.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't think I would want to see anything. I would definitely want to see like more of a fresh start. Like if we're gonna sit here and do his whole backstory and find his new identity, I would want it to be completely different compared to how we got started with WandaVision.
Yeah, completely agree. But this is everything so far for the Vision Quest series. I believe, again, it does come out before Doomsday. There are a couple of other ones that are coming out before Vision Quest. Again, that is Wonder Main. Eyes of Wakanda comes out in August. Ironheart comes out this month. And if I'm missing something, sorry, a little excitement for any of those. But as always, question is for you guys. Let us know down below in the comments what you think about Vision Quest. Are you excited for Vision Quest? Did you watch Agatha? Do you care about these spinoff after? To be honest with you, I do care because I've been invested in WandaVision. I do care about finding Tommy. I do care about the whole Maximoff family and Wanda. She is currently the most interesting thing outside of whatever's going on in Doomsday for me personally in the MCU. So I do care. So this one is one that I will be watching.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see where they take the story, especially if Tommy is involved.
Yeah, this is one I care about. So let us know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking, and we'll move on. Next thing we're going to move on to is going to be the Fantastic Four and its test screenings that it had over this past weekend. So this past weekend, the Fantastic Four, I believe, in California, San Diego, maybe. It's in the article. We'll get to it. They had test screenings and invited 30-odd something people to come and see a surprise showing. Audiences that came into the theater had no idea what they were going to sit down and watch. Obviously, when the movie came on, they were surprised to see that it was the Fantastic Four. After watching the Fantastic Four, and this was an assembly cut of the Fantastic Four, which means this is not going to, they did not view the cut that we are all going to sit down and watch. For those of us that go and see the film, are going to sit down and watch in July. It is going to, what they saw was, if you remember when somewhat like when that Spider-Man No Way Home trailer leaked, and it was recorded from a computer, from somebody's computer screen, and they hadn't added any CGI or anything like that or any effects. Okay. Not to say that it was exactly like that, but somewhat like that. I think that's what the audience...
Like a rough draft.
Yeah, that's what the audience saw. After leaving, people were heard and posted online saying that, they saw the screening, and Kevin Feige and Matt Shakman were present when this was shown, that it was mid and meh. Now, granted, mid and meh doesn't always necessarily mean that it was terrible, awful, shit on the ground, Quantumania.
That's true. That's true.
It doesn't always mean that it's that. Sometimes, that just means it was okay. Man, it was mid. It was,
it could have been
Marvel
maybe
things.
Just what they weren't expecting too. Like, you have to remember, they didn't know that they were going to sit down and watch this movie. So there could have been a lot of things that they just weren't expected. Right. If that makes sense. We already know they're going to change the storyline and the origin. We already know there's going to be changes.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, so they definitely, the people that did see the film had that to say, and this is what the article is saying from comicbookmovie.com. It says, it seems the negative reactions to Fantastic Four First Steps were blown out of proportion. Now, let me get to that part there. So Daniel RPK was one of the ones that put this out there. He was the ones that said that, I think somebody in a bad... Whenever a lot of this stuff goes around, obviously it's one scooper saying one thing, then you hear it from somebody else, and then the story gets changed and flipped and things like that. Apparently, Daniel RPK, scooper, was told that somebody stood up in the theater and said that was mid. And I think that's what he reported. And a lot of scoopers and other people were jumping on him and saying that no one stood up in the theater and said that, blah, 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 to where Daniel retracted that statement, posted on Twitter, and said that, it's not what he's sorry that that's what he put out, but he misunderstood. That's not what he heard, blah, 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 and things like that. However, people did say the film was mid, and they did say that it was meh. But this is where it comes in on that part. It says, first steps were blown out of proportion as the person who shared their thoughts in the movie has revealed how those were taken and misrepresented. A test screening for the Fantastic Four First Steps placed earlier this week, and reactions soon found their way online. Those were shared by Jeff Snyder, Daniel Richmond, and My Time to Shine Hello, with the reoccurring theme being that the movie was meh. Now, the person who provided at least one of the trio with this information, their scoops parroted each other, meaning they either share a source or distributed the information between themselves. Now has come forward to set the record straight. This is what the person has said, saying, I've been seeing a lot of reporting on the incident and facts. I'm sorry. I recognize my own. I recognize my own. The test screening attendee wrote, "I wanted to debunk some of the misrepresentation I've heard." No one screamed mid in the audience. There was a guy next to me. Sighing and flopping his hands around when the movie was over. I asked him his opinion, and he said it was mid. I told this story on Discord right after I left. Certain insiders have blown this story out of proportion, saying that some lunatic screamed mid in the theater. This is 100% untrue. There was an employee asking around random people for the reactions. I heard a lot of excellence and highest ratings on the survey. Goes on to say, they added that the film is fast-paced but not a mess, and said there's issues with the movie where things like Reed Richards not turning into Crazy Shapes, and the Thing not having a Brooklyn accent. However, they acknowledged that they're a big comic book fan and said such nitpicks are unlikely to bother regular moviegoers. As we write this, Richmond has apologized. At My Time to Shine Hello has removed their post, and Snyder has said nothing. It seems the telephone game got way out of control. The facts misprinted or spun to sound more negative. While we're not suggesting anyone has deliberately misconstrued the reactions to Fantastic Four First Steps negatively, does typically fuel social interactions and subscriptions more than good news. And as we're repeatedly pointing out, this was ultimately just one opinion from many people and attendees at the screen. So either this person, and what some people are speculating is this person was pressured into saying this, or some to that effect. Yeah, that this person was pressured into saying that and to that effect, and that the reactions actually were mid and meh, again, which aren't terrible. That does not mean that the movie's terrible.
Right.
But, as they said in the article there, My Time to Shine Hello has retracted their tweet. Daniel has retracted his statement. And Jeff, I'm sure we'll talk about it on Thursday on the Hot Mic with John Roca. So it's still up in the air what the Fantastic Four is exactly going to be like this coming July. Is it going to be, as a person that, if you go back to, I think the first Fantastic Four video we did, when we heard the rumors or news that was something that they were doing, and I don't know if Marvel officially said it or what happened. On the panel at that time, there was all of us. I was the only one excited. I was the only one that was like, the Fantastic Four. Everybody else was like, I don't care. People, I think Trey at the time brought up what a lot of people always bring up when we talk about the Fantastic Four. Their other films have never been successful. I don't know that people really care. They're not that popular when it comes to the zeitgeist and things like that. So I was only, I'm still excited. I still remain excited for the film. I still do want to see this film, despite what I do think is most likely going to happen to it. I hope that I am wrong, but just looking at where Marvel currently is with Thunderbolts and everything else, I mean, look at Lilo and Stitch. It is projecting after 12 days to make anywhere between 1.6 and 1.15 billion dollars at the end of its theatrical run. In its first week, it made double what, I don't want to say double. It surpassed in its first week Brave New World. Mm-hmm. So it's not, like I said last week, it's not as an issue of people not wanting to go to the theater or being fatigued or anything like that of movies. It's the simple fact that people want to see what they want to see, and people are checked out with Marvel. And I feel that despite what the promotion may have, with the promotion for the Pop-Tarts, they're putting Fantastic Four promotion is everywhere right now.
Oh, yeah, it's being shoved in your face.
Yeah. But despite all of that promotion, I still don't think that it's going to do anything for the regular moviegoers. Again, for those of us that have been here, unless you are somebody that's been here, like I saw Cornelius said last week that he feels like he feels like he's a casual now. So unless you are putting yourself in that casual category now, and you feel like, and you have checked out, and you're not going to go see this in theaters. Those of us that are, I'm seeing this day one. I'm seeing Superman day one. I'm seeing Jurassic Park day one. I'm seeing all those films in July day one.
Right.
This still remains my most anticipated, not film, but anticipated I'm ready to see what the box office is going to be for this film
Mm-hmm.
after its first weekend.
I mean,
And I
I
don't.
have my.
Oh, sorry. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. I was like, I'm definitely excited. I have my curiosities because, even though we have had past movies, I'm very curious of like just our first family within the MCU period, and like any movie, how is this movie going to fill in the gaps of where we're at now? Is it going to fill any gaps? Are we going to have any form of questions being answered? I don't know. But I am just more or less excited to see the first family within the MCU. And I mean, there's three out of I like all the main actors and actresses. So I'm excited. But am I like OMG, let's go, Marvel's back excited? No.
Yeah,
But I'm curious.
and unfortunately, like I said, I don't think that that's going to be the case at all. I could be wrong. Maybe I am
Right.
wrong. I just don't know that it's projecting. I mean, you look at the numbers for Thunderbolts, you look at the numbers for Brave New World, you look at what Ironheart is probably going to do. Daredevil did not chart on Nielsen. These are all projects within this year. These are all projects within this year that have not done well for Marvel Studios. So I don't see that changing for the Fantastic Four. I'm sorry, I just don't. So does that mean that the sky, the ceiling, everything is on fire? Not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's on fire, and that I think that it would mean that it's not good. I don't think it's good. And that's why I do understand them, which we're going to get to next. I do understand them not going to SDCC, but at the same time, I feel like that also still hurts because that's where they normally put out big news. They don't have any big news to put out, which we're going to get to, but.
Right.
But with the Fantastic Four, I don't think that that's going to change anything with the promotion or anything like that they've been doing. I think it's still probably going to be in last place if you're putting, obviously judging it against Superman and Jurassic Park being first place. And I think personally Superman's in second. And I think Fantastic Four comes in fourth. I think the sky and
time to just debut this movie too, right with those, movies.
Right. And I think the sky is ultimately going to be falling. You can say the sky is falling if Doomsday underperforms, which I don't think that's going to happen. But I could be wrong there too. So, but what question is for you guys? Let me know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking. If you're going to see Fantastic Four, do you think that it's going to be mid? Do you think it's going to be meh? Or do you think that the box office is not going to hold up to Marvel standards? What do you think the box office is going to be? All those questions. Let's know down below in the comments. All right. Next thing we'll move here to is Hall H. Marvel skipping over Hall H, not going to where they typically make all of their big announcements. As a Marvel fan, DC fan, any type of comic book fan, whatever type of fan you are, San Diego Comic-Con, we typically look forward to, especially for the MCU, especially now with James Gunn being the director over at DC, and them coming possibly, I don't even think they're coming to SDCC. We were looking forward to that as well. There was a lot of speculation and rumors surrounding SDCC, surrounding announcements. Speculation as far as what they were going to debut outside of the rumors that we had heard. What exactly was SDCC going to be this year for Marvel? Well, they're not going. They announced that, I believe, on Sunday or whatever day it was this past week.
I think it was Sunday.
Yeah, on Sunday. So they're not going to be there. They won't be at SDCC. They don't have. I was too at first.
I was shooketh. I mean, I mean, I was very much like. And then I sat there and I was like, but at the same time, what is there to talk about?
Right. Yeah. See, Tina, she dreads me, made that very, she put that in a post under there, which I thought about after, because when I first initially saw the announcement, I was like, what in the hell? Why are they not going to San Diego Comic-Con?
For sure. Yeah. Pearls were clutch. Because I was just like, what? Are you guys okay?
Tina had put under the, well, they don't have anything to announce. Typically it's for big announcements. They don't have shit. And, they're currently doing Doomsday without a script. So it's kind of going on as, they're kind of moving this as they go. That's why it's been pushed back. You still have Spider-Man 4 that comes out before, and then I think that's the only movie outside of that. That's the only movie, unless they announce something different, that comes out before then. So it's been pushed back. There's not going to be anything, no announcements, no nothing from Marvel. I believe Doomsday get pushed back to December of 2025, the end of the year, and so did Secret Wars of December 2026. And this is some of the reasons here that the Direct is speculating that they could have pushed SDCC, they are not attending SDCC. Ahead of San Diego Comic-Con 2025, fans learned what Marvel Studios plans to do for its biggest pop culture event of the year. The studio behind the MCU is usually known for delivering arguably SDCC's most celebrated panel as the Saturday night headliner, bringing news for filming and casting, and has fans talking for months to come. Marvel Studios will not host a panel during San Diego Comic-Con 2025, having used the event in past years to announce news about projects and characters casting, which often become the most notable news in the entertainment space. Marvel skipping this year's festivities will be a shock for the fandom. Per The Hollywood Reporter, Marvel made the decision because it did not have a new theatrical release to promote before 2025's SDCC event begins. The Fantastic Four: First Steps, the MCU's first Phase 6 movie, will open in theaters on the same Friday on which the event takes place. Additionally, Marvel is deep in filming for Avengers Doomsday, which was recently delayed until December 18th, 2026. I'm sorry, 2026. I said 2025. It was delayed too. My fault. The studio did not feel that the timing was right for Hall H this year. While this news is certainly disappointing, it is not the first time Marvel Studios has skipped putting on a panel for SDCC. Most recently, the actors and writers' strikes in 2023 forced Marvel to skip the festivities as the studio could not bring any of the creatives to the event to promote upcoming projects. Before that, the event did not happen at all in 2020 or 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic shutting the world down. In 2018, even then, the untitled Avengers Endgame set to premiere. Where was I at? Set to premiere the following year, Marvel did not have anything new to announce, and the team was not ready to reveal the fourth Avengers title yet. Similarly, in 2015, Marvel avoided the event when it had no footage to deliver for 2016's films like Captain America: Civil War or Doctor Strange. And then it says, why skipping San Diego Comic-Con 2025 is the right move. Although this news will disappoint many MCU fans, Marvel is about to go through a record-breaking period without a theatrical release as Phase 6 begins. This makes the move to skip SDCC 2025 understandable, considering the studio would only be there with news to promote for a handful of Disney Plus shows and not much else. Disney Plus shows that nobody cares about. Following the Fantastic Four release on July 25th, Marvel is expected to go 17 months without another movie release until Avengers Doomsday comes the following December. While there is still a small chance changes could be made to that slate, adding another movie or two during the gap, the expectation is that fans will be waiting longer than usual for the MCU to get back on track with that release. For the time being, Marvel Studios is ensuring it will deliver the best products possible for the rest of the multiversal saga, considering that Doomsday and its successor, Secret Wars, are expected to be the two biggest comic book movies in history. The studio is working diligently to ensure they live up to that expectation.
I mean, honestly, like we just said, it might be just the smartest move right now because there is nothing to talk about. And I think right now you just need to let the anticipation build back up.
Right. No,
I agree. Like, let us get excited again. Let us wonder, like, ooh, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, let that anticipation build, because at this point, nothing's being, like I said, I'm excited to go see Fantastic Four, which is like a new thing for a while for sure, but I'm not like over the hills excited top.
Yeah, like I said, most fans are not in that place. I think Marvel is currently in a it's the same thing we talk about every week, the slump, the slump,
Yep.
the slump, the slump. So people aren't currently going to see Marvel. People aren't currently that excited for Marvel projects. And them skipping SDCC, I thought at the very beginning was a very bad thing. And I still, it's crazy that they're not going to be there. It's really not that crazy after it's been broken down as far as they have nothing to show. I think as Tina put it on Twitter, under what I posted, Elizabeth Olsen, as we know it, hasn't even signed on to do anything. And, she was heavily rumored and still rumored to be in a part of Doomsday and so much of the storyline of Secret Wars. But from what we know, she hasn't even signed on. Sorry. There's other cast members, like the other X-Men that are supposed to be there that haven't seemingly signed on yet from our knowledge. There's scheduling conflicts and things like that, blah, blah, blah. So there's so much working against them right now. They didn't have any other choice but to push this back. And personally, I'm not mad about it. It's like when we talk about some of these films and other things other times when they get pushed back, and it's like, you know what, take your time, especially when they're working right now with not a script. Take your time getting this right, because this is a very, 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 very big and ambitious film that they are taking on. It's a Secret Wars.
I mean, it's huge. I mean, and we haven't had anything really build up to it. So you're gonna have to basically, like, Doomsday, you're gonna have to start from the ground up. You're gonna have to, because there's been nothing that's got us to this point. There's been nothing that's been leading us up to Victor Doom whatsoever.
And from what we've heard, Doomsday is supposed to be, and I don't know this, grain of salt type of thing. Doomsday is supposed to be a origin story, or not. I don't want to say much for an origin story, but that's where you're going to learn about Doom, who Doom is, and things like that. But while also fitting in all of the other moving pieces to make Doomsday work. So unlike Thanos, which we've talked about before, we didn't get Doom pieced here and pieced there and pieced here and pieced there before getting him ultimately. And the very first time that we're supposed to see him is here soon. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but the very first time we're supposed to see him is here soon, before Doomsday. And when I say see him, the what it was put out there was we won't see Robert Downey Jr.'s face, probably because they didn't want to pay for Robert Downey Jr. to be in that. But it's going to be. A lot of people are thinking that this was done the same way that the Thunderbolts post-credit scene was done, where the Russos did film that post-credit scene for the Thunderbolts. That was done on the Doomsday set. And word on the street is that this same post-credit scene that is in, or one of the post-credit scenes rather, that is in Doomsday was also filmed by the Russos on Doomsday set. So they crafted this together. And is that going to be enough? As I said last week on the Pantheon stream, I don't think so. There are people out there that do think that the post-credit scene is going to be enough to make fans go ballistic, and it's going to be enough to drive the box office numbers up for Fantastic Four. But as I continue to say, again, this is why I can't wait for July in Fantastic Four, we are not in that era. We are not in that time where Marvel can give you a post-credit scene and have fans talking and wondering and speculating how that's going to fit into the pieces of Marvel. That's not gonna. We're not in that era any longer. We are in a completely different time, a completely different era where people don't care. They do not care.
Mm-hmm.
So if Marvel, and I don't know that they are thinking that, but if they are thinking that post-credit scene is going to pop off that much,
I just don't think it's it.
First of all, in order for the post-credit scene, well, I don't want to say that. I was about to say, in order for the post-credit scene to even pop off, people have to be in the theater. That's not true. That's not true. It's going.
I do feel like no matter what, July movie theater, it's just going to be popping everywhere. We have 3 fantastic movies coming out in that month. You know what I mean? I do believe that maybe its first initial numbers are going to be good, not great. I don't think they're going to break records.
Oh yeah, I don't. They're going to make money, but is it going to be to a standard of Marvel? Some people are saying 500 mil. I don't even get that. I don't.
I don't
I
know. I
don't.
mean, it's like, yeah, I go back and forth. It's like, I don't, but then it's like, it possibly could, just because look at the main four actors and actresses in this movie. You know what I mean? Like, these are very well known people.
My rebuttal to that is Yelena is beloved, and she was one of the main characters in what is it? Thunderbolts. Bucky
True.
has been here since
The
first Captain America.
That's the only reason why I even he was even interested in the Thunderbolts. I'm interested in Bucky's storyline.
And
I'm here for
yet
Bucky.
those characters who have been here couldn't even get asses in the seats. Now
That's
I get
true.
what you're saying about Pedro's star power, maybe. Maybe it's a again, I can't wait for July. I still think we're out of that era though. I still think we're even out of the era of an actor being, because this actor, said actor is this said character, now asses are in the seats. I just don't think we're there anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, at the end of the day, we won't know until we know.
Yeah. Like, you know how the Daniel Day-Lewis rumors were going that he's going to be the Magneto, rumored to be the Magneto of the MCU.
Right.
And everybody's like, well, it's Daniel Day-Lewis. That name alone. I just don't think we're there. The X-Men, that name alone, possibly, and Marvel gets their shit together, that's going to get asses in seats, but
for sure. But is Fantastic Four going to do it? We don't know.
We'll see. Question is for you guys. Let us know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking about Marvel skipping SDCC. And, you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Are you looking forward to the long 17-month break of not having a Marvel film? That's longer than, obviously, the one that we had for the year break of between Deadpool and Wolverine and Brave New World.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. We'll see exactly how it's going to go and things like that. Of course, you've got all the shows and things that are coming out in between then. I think you still got Marvel Zombies, Wonder Man, Eyes of Wakanda, all those others. So you still got all those. Let us know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking about SDCC and Marvel pulling out. All right, move on here. Next thing that we're going to move on to is just going to be, with all of that said about SDCC, what does that mean? What does this mean for the potential of the character of T'Challa being recast? And why am I bringing this up? Why are we always talking about recast? I'm bringing this up because ever since Jeff Snyder said what he said on the hot mic, and I want to say that was at the end of 2024 or in 2024 or whatever it was, summer of 2024, that Marvel Studios has spoken with a male actor and they have casted a male actor or offered the role to a male actor to come in and play T'Challa in the MCU. Now, when he originally said that on the hot mic, he did not clarify whether or not he was talking about T'Challa, son of T'Chaka, or Toussaint, T'Child. He did come back and say on the hot mic, because he was asked by John Roca, which is it? And he said, I just know that they are looking at a black guy. They're looking at a black guy to come in and play the role. They already offered it to one. He said no. He turned it down. And I don't know if it's T'Challa, T'Challa, Junior, whoever. I just know it's a male Black Panther. Okay. Prior to that, we had X-Men 97. And that's as far back as I'm going to go on the rumor part of it. Just all the tracking of T'Challa and recast and blah, blah, blah. Prior to that, we had X-Men 97. Sorry, my throat is really dry and I don't have any water in here. Prior to that, we had X-Men 97. And we saw the weird mental gymnastics that the team for X-Men 97 and Marvel, and then all of those sheep out there tried to make for the Black Panther in the series being T'Chaka and not T'Challa. That's when I kind of had the aha moment. that it's deeper than what respecting Chad, as they say.
Right.
So I came to you in last summer, and it was the very first time I had spoken to the source. When they told me that Marvel is looking to cast a Black Panther in the future of the MCU, and it's going to be a package deal. The package deal is with Damson Idris and Jamie Lawson. They are going to be coming from the universe that Monica is currently in, because the X-Men are formed in that universe. There's supposedly an Avengers. Now, this is all quotation, grain of salt, blah, blah, blah. Supposedly an Avengers team in that universe, established Marvel universe. And what we've even heard in recent rumors is that universe is supposed to be a utopia universe, meaning the things like, we've heard that Marvel, damn, I might have to get some water because I'm not about to keep doing this. Hold on.
He said, hold up. He cannot talk right now. Hello, chat. What's up? Let's see. Well, I know we're going to do this later, but I will go ahead and say thank you to Brian Fisher for your $2 super chat. We really appreciate it. And also, I am 2FlyCam for your $2 super chat. And we will make sure to get into those once we are in our comment portion. Some of these comments already have me cracking up. Let's see here. Hi, Ricardo. How are you guys? Let's see.
Okay. Anyway, so what we've recently heard, and the most recent rumors, is that the universe that Monica's currently in is supposed to be a utopia. It is supposed to be a perfect universe. And this, again, grain of salt rumor. It's supposed to be a perfect universe. That's why we've heard we've seen the pictures, and you've heard the reports from the Hollywood Reporter, or not from Hollywood Reporter, but from credible sources as well as the scoopers, that Marvel is currently, or going to be here in the next few days or weeks or whatever, filming at Windsor Castle. And people were like, oh, Latveria, Doom's Castle, to where scoopers, and again, you can take T'Challa, sit down, you're moving my camera, to where you can take this with a grain of salt, to where it's going to be, scoopers came out and said, no, you're getting it wrong. My Time to Shine Hello specifically. You're getting it wrong. That's not going to be Latveria. That's going to be Magneto's castle, because again, this is a utopia. This is where think Krakoa, think that where everything is perfect for the mutants, and not just the mutants, but also in that universe as a whole, just from what we've heard. So that kind of got people thinking again, and kind of lined up with what we had heard about, or what I had heard about there being a T'Challa, a Black Panther in that universe, and established this and that in that universe, and that Storm and T'Challa were married. Not this were things that we were heard, that I was told in June, July last year. Put that video out. We heard some other things from my source, and this and that, and so we're going to kind of fast forward here to what we've recently heard. Recently, I was told that Marvel was going to announce, if it didn't get to the trades first, that yes, Genosha, sorry, thank you, Culture, but they were going to announce that they were going to recast T'Challa at SDCC if the trades didn't get to it first. The only reason I even bring that up is because that one news scooper, that I don't even know if scoopers get things wrong all the time and blah, blah, blah. This could be wrong, or he could have just, been mistaken or whatever. But he had put out May 28th, in Avengers Doomsday, we will see a team of Avengers formed in the X-Men universe composed of the variants of the heroes we know. And on that team, he had heard, supposedly, Black Panther, Ant-Man, Wasp, Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, and Binary. We're all going to be on this Avengers team. So that, when I saw that May 28th, and this was before the SDCC announcement that Marvel was not going to be attending Hall H, I was thinking, okay, that kind of is lining up with things. Maybe it could still be T'Challa. It could be, some people when the art leaked and that the Russo say is not the art for Doomsday or whatever, people saw the likeness. Some of us saw the likeness of Damson Idris in that Black Panther that was in the concept art.
Right.
And a lot of people started thinking, okay, or some people said, no, that's going to be T'Chanda and all this kind of stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Some people said the kid. Some people said T'Challa variant. Some people were saying it's, T'Chaka. It's just so many, or not T'Chaka, I'm sorry, Azuri. It was so many different things that people were saying. Again, we'll get to that part in a minute. So they were saying that could be a thing, blah, 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 SDCC. So I thought, okay, maybe we might hear something. Maybe that is going to be, let me go back. Maybe that is going to be a deal here. Then we had heard from My Time to Shine Hello, and then the Culture Base also shared it, and then Alex over the Cosmic Circus shared it, that Michael B. Jordan will interpret, and this was the first, so this was Saturday, interpret a variant of Black Panther and Avengers Doomsday. The variant will be a part of the multiversal team for the Avengers. Now, granted, the dude that I just said here said that there's going to be a multiversal team of Avengers. Only thing he said is that it's going to be announced at SDCC. So maybe wires were crossed. Maybe he heard something wrong. But you've got Alex up here still saying that there's going to be a multiversal team of Avengers. But he is saying on that multiversal team, it's going to be Michael B. Jordan as the Black Panther. Now, I haven't commented on this online or anything like that, but I've seen people giving their opinion saying that, why in the hell would it be Michael B. Jordan? Why
Right.
would, blah, 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 things like this, different opinions. And I always like to remind people when we talk about these things, especially when you have the epiphany, when we talk about the MCU, and we like to always get online and say, yeah, but in the comics, how many times does the MCU, does Marvel Studios have to show us, the comic readers, that this is not the comics? And despite what the comics might do,
they're not going to do that.
We might adapt every now and then.
Right.
But despite the comics being the comics, we're not going to panel for panel.
We're not doing
on the
that.
Screen.
Yeah, you're not getting what you want. I'm so sorry.
So I say this is on par with Marvel Studios, in my opinion. Do I really believe it? I don't know, because I have other questions. Why would Michael B. Jordan do this? Why would he take this? But then again, I forget, as I try to remind all of us sometimes, in our recast bubble. I'm not saying he hasn't seen these conversations. He probably has. Maybe he hasn't. I don't know.
Maybe he hasn't. We
I don't know his presence online. Does he have a Twitter? Does he have an Instagram and all that?
Couldn't tell you.
So in our bubble, we know why T'Challa, and yes, T'Challa, and the reason he should be recast, and blah, all the bullet points. Being as he was so close to Chadwick, and Chadwick did understand the importance of this character, and we've talked about that, talked about the videos he's done, the interviews, and this and that, and blah, 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 stating that why T'Challa should be, or why the Black Panther, T'Challa specifically, is important. We've seen that from Chad. So one can only imagine or think that the two of them maybe, not saying that he sat and talked about T'Challa all the time, maybe Michael was in the presence of Chadwick while he was talking about the importance of T'Challa. He has seen the interviews, rather. Was he not there when Chad choked up with Sway?
I think so. Wasn't that when they did the press tour for the first movie?
I believe so. So I would assume he knows. Maybe he's thinking to himself, this is just, paying respect. I don't know. I really don't know.
He's also in really close relations with Ryan Coogler. I mean, with this past movie. You know what I mean? So it's like...
Coogler is not, from what we know, involved in this or anything like that.
But still,
that franchise.
A voice and the mustard seed being planted in the head. Either way, we don't really know. But I do agree with you with the fact that I would not be surprised if they did something like that. Like,
Yeah.
at all.
I mean,
Because I feel like in Marvel's head, they would feel like they would check all the boxes to satisfy us over here as far as recast T'Challa. And also check their and in their head, they would be like, oh, that makes sense. Let's just put him there. Because he's already familiar. They've already seen him before. We killed him off, but we found a way to bring him back. Which is basically what they want, which is not what they want, but it's cheaper for, you know what I mean? Like, in their brain, it's going to be, oh, these checks all the boxes, so let's just do it.
Right. And you've got Lawrence and Zen saying they did it in What If, and I completely forgot that because fuck What If. But yes, they did it in What If. They did do it in What If. And not to, What If? They made him a part of the Avengers. Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger, a part of the Avengers. Not only that, let's also remember, none of us, everybody's like, why would we expect to see Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger as, the Black Panther? Why would we this? Why would we that? Why did we see him in the ancestral planes? Why that? So there's a lot of whys, but again, the why is because they want to. That's the why. Because it fits what they're trying to do. That's the why. So do I truly believe this? I think it's on the table. I think that it might be.
I think it's definitely on the table.
So let's run with what Alex has said, because Alex has gotten a lot of things right in the past. Not to say that any of these scoopers, or beholden to any of these scoops or anything like that. But let's run with it. Let's say that he is. Let's say that the person they spoke to that Jeff claims turned it down, and now they're speaking to Michael B. Jordan to come in and portray. Even though the other rumors out there said that this person already was playing a superhero. Even when they said that the first time, I was thinking to myself, who? Because the only other person that is currently playing a superhero is Aaron Pierre. There's nobody else. And you could say Eddie, what's Eddie? I forget how his last name that's playing Mr. Terrific. I don't think so.
Right.
But maybe, because some people said that the concept art looks like him. So maybe, I don't know. Run with what you think. However, I do not truly think that it's off the table that Michael B. Jordan could be that variant to Black Panther that they go with.
I agree. I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled that.
And maybe it's damn the kid altogether until the third one. Because the whole thing around that was always convoluted of what we were hearing or speculating with the whole time, aging the kid up or a different variant kid from another. Because, like we were saying, like some people were saying, I think Marcus even made the point in the Pantheon, why go to a whole nother universe for a Black Panther to pull the kid? My theory, because he's dead in every universe, my opinion, but it doesn't make sense to go to a whole nother universe to pull up fucking Toussaint.
Yeah, they're going to just age him up. They spent all that money, all that time.
But see, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they're going to age him up anymore. I don't think if this is what I don't think if this is I'm running with what Alex is saying. I still don't believe a recast. And I've been saying that. I keep telling I'm trying to.
But you don't think
pair everybody.
Just like
I don't think so. I don't think so, because at first, I really did think that, as far as people, as all the scoopers talking about this and talking about that, talking about this. But this seems more up Marvel's alley, in my opinion. It's a track record of watching stupid shit that they've done before, shit that they think that makes sense for them. Foot's already in the door. You don't got to go hire somebody else. You don't got to find a new aged up kid.
Yeah.
This is somebody that's in house. This is somebody that's in the first Black Panther. This is somebody that we forced into the ancestral planes in the second Black Panther. This is somebody who voiced the character in What If, and we put him on the multiversal Avengers. So why the fuck would we not repeat that and give the fans what they want, because they liked him? The casuals liked him in the ancestral planes.
We're checking.
Everybody was like, "Oh, it made so much sense." Blah 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 blah. It was cool to see Killmonger back.
Right.
So, again, I've been trying to tell people. Been trying to tell you to temper your expectations. As much as I do respect and like E-Man, I never thought, what was said over to, or what he said to the Russos was truly taken to heart, as in like, oh yes, we're looking at the recast crowd, because as you said there, you said a few minutes ago something about catering to the recast crowd. I was going to cut you off and say they don't give a fuck about the recast crowd, and that's really the truth of it. They don't care about the recast crowd because they were never recasting T'Challa from the beginning. This makes more sense to. This doesn't make more sense to recast T'Challa, but it makes more sense to me than the whole convoluted aging up the kid and finding this and finding that. Because also we don't know what Ryan has planned for the third Black Panther.
That's true. I just think what I was saying was I don't see them not giving up the concept of T'Challa though, because they spent all that time, they spent all that money,
they're not giving it up.
Toes deep.
They're not giving it up. They're going to pick it back up in 2028 when they do Black Panther 3. I don't
you think that they're going to use. You think they're going to use this variant with?
That's my thought now. That's my thought now. At first, I thought
until he's aged up.
No. Let me lay it out. This is your Black, seemingly. Nothing's official. This is what I think, based off of what Alex and other scoopers have said. Now, yes. Based off this new information, I no longer think they are going to go find a Toussaint from the multiverse, pull an aged up Toussaint, because why would he be aged up? Are all, from what we've seen in different variants, they are all, sometimes they look different, but they're all around the same age, are they not? Oh, no, I take that back. Let's go back to Loki. We saw an old Loki.
Yeah,
scratch it. We saw a kid Loki. Scratch that whole thing that I just said there on that part. On the whole kid. I still don't think that they're going to go find a Toussaint, an aged up Toussaint, or there's going to be some multiversal traveler, time travel where he gets aged up like we all were thinking originally. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think, will Toussaint maybe be mentioned? Will we maybe see a Toussaint? I don't know. Maybe, possibly. Will he be aged up and in combat? I personally don't think so anymore. I don't think so. Because I know at the beginning, a lot of people were saying that it's not like they're talking to Ryan Coogler about what he wants to do and blah, 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 blah. This is a Russo film and blah, blah, blah. And I somewhat agree with that, but we just heard last week, or maybe this week. No, it was last week, new week right now. Last week, Ryan Coogler said he doesn't plan on doing a sequel for Sinners. At least that's what he's saying now. He could be, whatever. And some people are saying that was taken out of context. But let's say that he doesn't plan on doing a sequel for Sinners or whatever. So all that focus that everybody was saying, well, he's putting that on Sinners, he's building his own, that now gives him time to fall right back where he left off in 2022.
Come get this Marvel back.
So what I think is that they are going with this because they debuted it to the fans before in Wakanda Forever. They liked it. They debuted it to the fans for those that watched What If, seemingly. They liked it. He's already in-house. They know his name. Phone call away. Tight with Ryan Coogler. Get him in here to be a multiversal Black Panther.
And then we're going to be checking all the boxes.
He's not going to be T'Challa. Maybe still going to be Killmonger. But a universe where T'Challa is still fucking dead. Because I believe he's dead in every universe. My opinion. Where Killmonger didn't have the life he had in our universe. And now he was next in line for the throne or something like that or whatever. And he became the Black Panther. Okay, I
understand what you're saying now.
And then you pick back up with Toussaint in 2028 for Black Panther 3.
Okay.
And by that time, after the Secret Wars, after Doom has done what he's done to make this new universe that's supposed to be the soft reboot, that's when we don't know how time is going to work. How long it's been since we last saw some of these characters. So by that time, your Toussaint could be aged up to where you could have an actor playing him.
He could be a Chaman instead of a child.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts on. Still haven't changed on the whole recast position because Marvel again has not shown me anything. Now this is not official from them. Not official for them. But as I always say, if we're gonna believe Alex and some of these scoopers on some things. And say, oh yeah, that's right. That's then we gotta believe we gotta somewhat take them somewhat as best as you can at their word from what they're hearing, even on the shit that you don't want to hear.
Right. Understandable. Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see that because I don't like I was saying before, I feel like they're going to use it to check all the boxes.
Do I see Michael B. Jordan continuing on, like, wearing, being the Panther in the new reboot? No. That's again where all that Sinners energy that everybody was pushing Ryan toward, and he's so busy with Sinners and ... this and this and that. He's gonna finish that story he started in 2022, like I've been telling you, but in 2028 with Black Panther 3, because he's got time. He's got time.
He's got the time.
And from what we already know, from what Denzel slipped out, he's already writing it. He's already contacting actors to portray different characters. So, hey, time will tell. Time will tell. And see, I see Planet Poppy saying, my time debunked this. Here's the thing about my time debunking anything. She can't. She can't. She is in the same boat that Alex over at the Cosmic Circus is in. And that's not me trying to be a hypocrite and saying, like, if we can't believe. I'm saying they are in the same boat. Like, yeah, my time can say, oh, that's not true. I've heard my sources from this. And yeah, I can look at her post and say, oh, you know what? She said that, so maybe she's telling the truth. But Alex said this, and maybe he's telling the truth. When we talk about Recast, when we've gone over the different rumors, I've touched on what Charlie has said. I've touched on what Jeff has said. I've touched on what Daniel has said. I've touched on what Alex has said. All the different scoopers that we're aware of. My time to shine hello. And you try to make a paper trail. You try to make some type of puzzle out of everything that you're hearing from these different supers. But a lot of the time, they're sometimes hearing the same thing, sometimes hearing different things. But on when it comes to Black Panther, my time can debunk and say that it's going to be the kid, and maybe it is going to be the kid. I have no inside knowledge. As far as what makes the most sense story-wise, I think Alex is more onto something. It doesn't make sense in my opinion. It never made sense, in my opinion, to go pluck a Toussaint that is aged up from another universe and not just pull the T'Challa.
That makes sense.
But what does make more sense for Marvel is this, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah. I mean, what you're saying is not wrong, because, like you said, it does make the most sense. And in their head, they're gonna think, oh, this is recast T'Challa, even though this is not recast. In their brain, this is very much going to be, this is recast. And like you said, and they're going to use him for the next couple movies, and then we're going to get this strange new world, and then we possibly are going to get, I just don't believe they're going to give up on the T'Challa situation. I just don't. Whether they use him now or later or down the road after Secret Wars, I feel like they put too much time and money and effort, and they stuck their 10 toes deep in that. And I think they're gonna stick to it. That's their man, and they're gonna stick beside it.
Right. Now, one of the things here from Cornelius is saying, calm down, Darius. It's all fluid. They don't even know what they're doing in Doomsday. But it would make sense for the studio business-wise, she's Michael B. Jordan because of Sinner's popularity. First of all, one of my pet peeves is being told to calm down when I'm not agitated. I'm not agitated. I'm simply reporting on the news and telling you what's out there. And the thing here about it's all fluid and this and that, you're right. It is all fluid. Anything is subject to change, as we've seen so many times with different Marvel projects. At one point in time, let's not forget Brave New World was Serpent Society. The Serpent Society were the villains, and this and this and this and blah, blah, blah. To where we ended the product with what you got. So, of course, anything is subject to change. However, as I have been saying, and I implore any of you that and I know you're law, and we've had this conversation before. A lot of you throw tomatoes at me and hate me and hate me for this opinion and for having this thought. But I implore any of you watching that have the same thoughts of it being fluid and things are subject to change and blah, 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 blah. When it comes to recasting T'Challa, I'm not talking scoopers. I'm not talking Alex, Jeff, Daniel. What has Marvel given to indicate to you that it's that recast T'Challa is a part of that fluid change? That's a real question, because I would love, and this is not me shitting on anybody, coming for anybody or anything. I would love to have what you have, to be able to truly be in that euphoric thought, I guess, that T'Challa or is still in conversation at Marvel to be recasted. I really want to know, though, what has Marvel shown that has given you any indication of that? I haven't seen it, because we need to, now if you want to add the scoopers into it, you can. Every scooper, if we're adding the scoopers, every scooper out there, every single one of them, including Jeff from his initial report, has come and said, and even Charles Murphy, who I even told y'all the last time we talked about this, is not really even in the scooping game anymore, has said, all of my sources, and this is the Tucson thing, so maybe it is Tucson again, all of my sources are telling me that it's the kid. All of my sources are telling me that it's going to be Tucson. That's from Alex. That's from Charles. Jeff didn't say Tucson. He didn't say the kid. He said he didn't know. He just knows it's going to be a male Black Panther. That's from My Time. So we threw My Time's name in there. My Time even said that it's going to be the kid. So if we want to throw the scoopers in there, all of them are saying their sources, grain of salt, or it's the kid. Not even in their mix are they saying, oh no, I've heard that they are actually going to pull a variant T'Challa, the T'Challa, son of T'Chaka, from the multiverse. Now, granted, the film doesn't come out until 2027. I guess that's where the fluid comes in. Things are always subject to change in between then. But until I see some type of evidence from Marvel Studios that proves otherwise, this is the same studio that did mental gymnastics for you, that had the director of X-Men 97 come on a podcast and tell you how it made sense that the T'Challa in X-Men 97 was not T'Challa, it was T'Chaka, and for T'Chaka to be peers with Jubilee, Peter Parker, and the rest of them, and that was not T'Challa in the 90s series, and it was not canon. This is that same studio. Mind you, the director of those 90s episodes came out and said, no, that was T'Challa, it was canon, and he had a whole story about how they had to have it under a code name just to fit it in there, because it was the Black Panther, T'Challa. So it's that same studio.
That should say a lot right there. Not a code word.
That same studio.
A code word?
You tell me. You let me know what you think. But as always, questions for you. Let me know down below in the comments what you think about this newest information about Michael B. Jordan and what all this could possibly mean for, with SDCC being canceled and the rumors that it was going to be announced there, if not picked up by the trades and all these other rumors and this and this and that. Let me know what you think. Too early to tell. Do I need to calm down? Should I just sit back and just, yeah? Or what do you think? What do you think is actually going to happen with this character in the MCU?
Let's chat about it, chat.
All right, we are now at the portion of the show where we are going to get into the comments, and I'm sure there's some things being said. Like I said, y'all hate when I give that T'Challa opinion. So I'm sure we'll get into that. We'll get into all those comments. So if you have anything you'd like to say, we'll get to the super chats first. I appreciate those that sent those. I think it was Brian. Who else sent one?
Yes, Brian and I am Two Fly Cam.
Let's do those first. Appreciate those very much.
Always. Brian Fisher with $2 said, Johnny better have some hoes. I agree.
Johnny Storm? Well,
yeah.
Remember, they did say that they were going the route of he wasn't going to be the player. So we'll see.
We'll see. Like I said, they're doing a lot of changes. The next one is from I am Two Fly Cam, another $2. Sorry, but Fantastic Four looks boring as fuck. Hype for the soups, though. You know, we shall see.
Where you at?
Shall see. Oh, I just went under shared. It's just a lot easier.
Wait, you went under who?
So like in the corner, like on our screen, you know how we have like the private chat, the comments, and then there's live and shared.
Oh, you're doing the, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the supers.
Super chats first.
What he said, sorry, but Fantastic Four looks boring.
As fuck. Hype for the soups though.
Yeah, I'm very excited for Superman 2. I'm still very excited for Fantastic Four as well, though.
Yeah, I'm excited for all three movies. Okay, right off the gate, we have Kevin Davis said even uh, if Fantastic Four first steps have mixed reactions, people will go see it at the theaters. Marvel Studios skipping Comic-Con is a good decision. Bounce back at the box office with Avengers Doomsday. Even if Fantastic Four steps bomb at the box office, Kevin Feige isn't going anywhere at all.
Well, the rumor on the street, theory, suspicion on the street is that Kevin Davis works. This is Chill's theory. He works for Marvel Studios or Plant or Industry Plant or something like that. I don't know. I disagree on the Kevin Feige, but you might know different. I disagree on the Kevin Feige. I do think Feige, not after Secret Wars or anything, but I don't think that he's going to be there for a. I know that he says he has a X-Men 10-year plan. But that could easily be switched, or not switched. The plan, not switched, but those plans could easily be handed over to Winterbaum, who I think is his successor.
Right. I don't know where you want to go from there.
Let me see. I'll put it on the screen. Let's see. Andre said, I'm looking forward to Vision Quest, especially because of the showrunner. Who's our showrunner for Vision Quest?
Let me look it up.
We have the Jinx that said it needs to have a different feel than WandaVision and not just season 2. Right. Andrew said whatever Armor Wars, that's what it was. Whatever Armor Wars about was probably incorporated into, yes, that's what I couldn't remember.
Terry Matalas. 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 He's known for his work on Star Trek Picard, which according to the Hollywood Reporter.
Okay, yeah, this was the dude that they were talking about attached to Star Trek. Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
That's what it was, though, Andrew. I couldn't remember what other show it was. It is.
Are we getting an Armor Wars? I thought that got canceled.
It is canceled.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but at one point in time, Armor Wars was supposed to, I guess, be the events were going to overlap.
Okay.
Side with one another in Vision Quest.
That's right. Ooh, that was a rumor a long time ago.
Lawrence Report said Fantastic Four mid. Yikes. The Culture Made channel said, what's happening, peeps? I know I'm late, but made it in. Appreciate you being here.
Hello. Thank you.
Jinx said, from what I hear, FF is going to be like Mary Sue Storm and her Invisible 3. So saying that the focus is going to be on
Sue Storm. Which would be kind of sad. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love women empowerment. I love a good girl boss. I love a bad bitch. Okay, but when I think of Fantastic Four, I'm thinking Reed. Reed Richards is in charge. He's the man with the plan.
Yeah, that is true. What Jinx said. That is the word on the street. Is that she is the main focal point of the movie. Obviously with Franklin as well. There was a scene that was described, so this is not me spoiling anything, but if you don't want to hear it, you can leave. They just had CP, I forget what it is, CP something or another, one of those cons down in Mexico, to where the Fantastic Four group were currently there, or whatever it was. Over the weekend they were there, to where they showed a new clip for Fantastic Four, and the clip that they showed was Sue going into labor as she's giving birth to Franklin, being chased by the Silver Surfer, things like that, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to say the other part because that would be spoiler. So, but from what we've heard, yeah, that it's going to be main focus on her, sprinkling that Franklin stuff, a lot of focus on him toward the end, and
That
then
makes sense. That makes sense.
and then people have also said that one of the things that they didn't like was that Mr. Fantastic, you don't really see a whole lot of power set from Mr. Fantastic as far as like the stretching and the different things that he's able to do.
Which I feel like those little nitpicks that they were talking about earlier, like those little small fine details, are important if you want people to show up. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that we're not going panel for panel comic book right now, but I feel like there are certain details that you want to include into this film so that the people who have been along this journey for decades can feel like, oh wow, we're back. You know what I mean? So having Mr. Fantastic stretch and loop and show off that power skill, I think, is important. And the fact that Johnny's like not going to be a player is just kind of like, that was like kind of the comedy aspect of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah. No, there's things they could have done, but that was one of my big things. Was I really wanted to see Reed's power set, but for what we're hearing, it may not be all there like that. Carlos said, low key sounds like Marvel put belt to ass on that person. LOL. Which person are we talking about? He said, because something isn't adding up, but it could, the whole mid conversation, but it could very much easily be miscommunication and someone over exaggerating. Yeah.
very much so.
Telephone. Coach May Channel said, true. I thought the Thunderbolts was mid, but people loved it. Yeah, people did. Well, the people that watched it loved it.
Right.
Yeah.
The moviegoers.
Andre said, I'm still looking forward to Fantastic Four. Likewise. Let's see. Andrew said, I just don't see First Steps being bad. I don't see it being bad either. It just sounds like they put a lot of love and care into this movie. I don't see it being bad either.
Yeah, whatsoever. I just don't think it's going to make the numbers, and I don't think it's going to get people excited the way a Marvel movie used to produce numbers and excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what we're trying to get back to. Because we've lost that within the last, 6 years now? 7? How long have we been in this phase? Too damn long. Too damn long. So it's like, I don't think it's not going to be a bad movie. I think it's going to be a great movie. I think the first weekend is going to come out with a lot of great numbers. I think people are excited to see the first family be introduced into the MCU. Do I think it's going to make the numbers that they need? No. Do I think it's going to get people, oh my gosh, Marvel's back? Absolutely not.
And see, I am the opposite. I think them having good numbers and I could be completely wrong. I'm just trying to look at a track record here. I think them having good numbers for even the opening weekend is ambitious. And the reason I say that is because Thunderbolts, Brave New World, these are established characters that have been in the MCU, that people have been on journeys with thus far. These are new characters, new to the MCU, that are not in our universe, that are in a completely different universe, that are not going to be surrounded by things that are familiar to us from the Infinity Saga or whatever, to the casuals. These are people that didn't even go see Thunderbolts. So I'm just saying, I think even them having a good opening weekend, which I could be wrong, but I think that even still is ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's an ambitious pool for them with that. Yeah, people are already going to be at the theaters because of Jurassic Park and Superman, but we have to remember,
I think the first weekend is going to be decent.
unless you have the AMC like thing that some people have, or the Regal thing, and you get rewards and points and things like that. If you don't have any of that, a regular movie. When I saw Lilo and Stitch for two, it's 40 at the Warren Theater. It was $41. That was not popcorn, drinks included. That was our.
And you're better than me because I waited to do it on a $5 Tuesday at the Cinemax.
Typically, I would have, but I wanted to see, and I told the story about seeing with a big crowd last week. Regretful, but I should have seen it during a matinee.
But I get it because I know they're I know for a fact, Soups, Fantastic Four, we're gonna go see it as a crew. So we're gonna be there, pre-premiere day. I know for a fact I would like to go see Jurassic's Rebirth premiere day too. So those are movies for sure that I'm yeah, I would spend the money for
yeah.
sure to go sit down and watch.
Oh yeah.
Honey,
Yeah.
I was trying to get that on a $5 day, and then they done came out with that stupid ass new Avengers, and I said, I'm not watching that shit. And then you sent me the link, and I watched it at home illegally for free because they had me all the way fucked up.
And I think that's most people's thoughts. It's, you know, again, I don't want to spend too much more time on this because we've talked about this at length, and I'm sure we will continue to talk about it at length until July. But that's most people's thoughts. Yeah, the Jurassic World Rebirth or Jurassic Rebirth trailer that they released, that looked great. It looked fun. It's action packed, things like that. I'm not saying that they didn't look fun in the Fantastic Four trailer or whatever, but you're also comparing. We're also Superman here. All right, now, yeah, you got people that are upset with Snyder and things like that, blah blah blah. But this is the first installment to this whole
Brand
new
new universe. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's again the whole. I'm ready to see exactly what July looks like. Ricardo said, "I don't hear anyone talking about it, but I also don't hear anyone talk about Marvel anymore. If I'm being honest, unless it says Marvel is dead or cringe now." And that different time. Lawrence report, or I'm sorry, not Lawrence report, but Lawrence said, I have AMC. I'm going to see them all with my pass. See, like that. That's what I'm talking about. Unless you have that pass or something like that, it's so expensive. The Culture Made channel said, Fantastic Four never had a real Galactus, and we know villains make these movies nowadays. From what we did hear from people that saw it, that Ralph, who his last name's escaping me, who's voicing, and his likeness is going to be used for Galactus, is menacing. We've heard that Galactus is actually menacing. His size is menacing. He is, great. And like Culture Made said, he's not a cloud. So, and they still have not shown us anything outside of what we've seen from promotion stuff for Galactus. So I'm kind of ready to see that as well. Andrew said, if Fantastic Four gets reviews, I think it's going to hit 700 to 800 worldwide. We will, again, I am so ready for this one. I am ready to see what this one does. We will see. Lauren said, it feels like the movie is just Fantastic Four 2 without the Cloud and a gender swapped Silver Surfer and Sue as the leader.
That's what it's very much giving, but I'm trying to go in there with a grain of salt of high expectations or any expectations at all. I mean, if we're going to do all this, just do it right. That's all I'm asking. Just, if we're going to swap and do all, just let it be to the point where I'm like, all right, I'm not mad about it. But I don't think it's going to be that. That's just my personal opinion.
Roberto said, may I add, earlier this week, I for real had to debate with people on TikTok claiming the MCU has adapted/represented comic characters better than the comics themselves. So casuals are going to go with whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren said they showed footage for Fantastic Four CCXP and debuted Vanessa's pregnancy. Yes, they did. Mm-hmm. CCXP, yes. Andrew said, if Doomsday underperforms, Marvel is going to pack it up.
Have to.
Patrick said, I'm excited for Fantastic Four. It's a lot of heat in July. Might not be up to standard, but I think it'll be good. I still think it's going to be good. I
think it's going to be.
I don't know about that box office. I just don't know. Raptor Cloak said, sure, I'll see Fantastic Four. Thunderbolts did good in my book. It did good in my book as well. Not, as far as what I liked Thunderbolts. I saw it twice. Thunderbolts did good in my book, so maybe Fantastic Four will turn out the same.
Maybe. We don't know.
Culture Made channel said, IDK, heard it's all about Sue and Franklin anyway. Yeah, well, that's about right. It's ultimately just, it's old. Spoiler. It's ultimately just getting you to Doomsday. Lauren said, Disney just had a layoff too. Probably wasn't in the budget. Not enough content. See, Bird said, Marvel might be cooked, unfortunately. I hope I'm wrong. Culture Mate said they say absence makes the heart fonder. They want us to miss them a little. That long being gone. I mean, you still have the shows, but many people are really watching the shows. Andre said, I'm okay with the decision not to be at SDCC. Marvel has to get things right and recast T'Challa. Definitely have to get things right and fix a lot of this stuff that's wrong out there. Bird said, I'm watching Superman before F4. Fantastic Four does come out first, 2 weeks before, right? I believe Fantastic Four comes out 2 weeks before. Yes, before Superman. So James Gunn just put out a recent quote saying, "Hey, they come out 2 weeks before us. Let's all support each other and things like that." I wonder if that's how he really feels.
Yeah, me too.
Lauren said, "Dang, Marvel won't have a movie until 2027 since since Spider-Man is Sony and they only get 25%." Yeah, Spider-Man is still supposedly 2026. That slate there. He also said post-credit scenes be everywhere so quick. That isn't something to get people in the seat. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people are expecting this Fantastic Four post-credit scene to really be the thing that does it. Where that post-credit scene can be on typically what we've seen with post-credit scenes lately is that Thursday night showing before the world showing on Friday. People that go see it that night typically post they did it on Brave New World and Thunderbolts, post those post-credit scenes online right after they leave Thursday. So Friday, before, if you don't care or whatever, before you go see those films, you can see all that before it gets taken down on Twitter on Thursday night. Typically, that's what's been happening. It happened with Brave New World and it happened with...
right. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same thing.
Ricardo said post-credit scenes haven't had people going crazy since Phase 3.
I agree.
Let's see. Patrick said F4 is DOA. Pedro, who I like, is not Reed. Then, in typical Marvel fashion, they pass on Austin Butler as Johnny for that Brit actor. But maybe Butler dodged a bullet. I heard he was being looked at as something else, but that was from some stupid shit. What's it called? The MCU News Twitter page.
Oh, yeah.
Bird said that post-credit scene would mean more if the movie was a bigger draw, like Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, etc. He goes on to say, the Culture Made channel said, LOL, why is Wonder Man... why is he Wonder Man? Because he's black now? Yeah, that's kind of what the chat has just come up with for calling him Wonder Man. So we run with it. Ricardo Woods said, Austin Butler was never in talks for Johnny, and he wouldn't be terrible as well, respectfully. Patrick said, then Marvel used a female surfer when they know who the fans want to see.
We know who we want to see.
Lawrence also said Marvel basically will be hyped up because 2 years of no movies. And then, of course, apparently remember when the, what was it that broke? That guy that posted on Instagram, that's what it was. They were talking about Spider-Man 4. The guy that posted on Instagram, it was like a Disney event or something that he went to, and he posted like the poster or the cardboard cutout that was outside the event, and that had like Spider-Man, because they were talking about some Spider-Man stuff, some other Disney stuff like Zootopia, Moana, all that kind of stuff. At that event, they talked, what was said from people that were at the event was that Marvel showed, when they took the stage, or Disney event or whatever, they showed a sizzle reel, and in that sizzle reel, they had, I don't know how, but they had, I guess, footage that they filmed so far from Doomsday in that sizzle reel. So by the time we get to the next SDCC or even before, they will probably have some type of something in a sizzle reel that shows up at a Disney event or something like that, D23, or might just drop a trailer, to get people's excitement. And then at Doomsday, drop maybe a full trailer or more information, or I don't know. But there is a sizzle reel that's supposedly out there. Let's see. Ricardo was saying hi to you.
Hello.
Xavier, appreciate you being here. Patrick said, I think now they're going to bring T'Challa back, and please, no Idris, God no. Hodge or Michael B. Jordan as BP/T'Challa or bust. Marvel needs someone to excite fans, and they need fans to be united. We shall see. The Culture Made channel said, honestly, what he's saying, the source said, sounds exactly like what I heard in the YouTube streets. The Avengers and X-Men work together in Binary's universe. And I don't think that that's off the table. That there's
I don't think so either.
Team. Again, like I said, the current rumor is that is a Utopia universe. That there are Avengers there and things like that, blah, blah, blah. And again, what Alex is saying is that so if Michael B. Jordan, if that is the truth, and Michael B. Jordan's a part of that universe, then maybe so. I don't know. Then maybe you could even take it back all the way to what my source said about, I don't know about the whole Dan Idris and Jamie Lawson thing, but maybe T'Challa, if it I don't know. Again, I don't think it's T'Challa, but maybe the Black Panther, because it's going to be a Black Panther in that universe, is married to the Storm of that universe.
We shall see.
We shall see.
There's so much we just don't know.
Brian said, is that T'Challa in the room? Hello, my first time seeing him. Where at? Behind me?
Oh, yeah. The dog.
There?
No,
T'Challa in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's down here. He's asleep. Yeah, he's gotten his act together since last week.
Oh, well, when you threaten someone that you're going to, kill him and put him out on the streets, it humbles you.
Yeah, he's not been acting crazy in that crate. Raptor Cloak said, let it be T'Challa, son of King T'Chaka, and we'll be just fine. Plus, bringing in Storm is the best way to write out Nakia, since T'Challa will have his real wife with him. Ricardo said, I don't hate that idea. He also said, as long as it's T'Challa, they don't give a fuck about the comics. And he also said they take scenes from comics and that's about it. They be doing their own plot. Correct. Xavier said they are barely looking at comics now, so people better go in with lower expectations on story adaptation. Press the Film fan said, I hope this isn't it. Patrick said, Michael B. Jordan as T'Challa is the best way to go. That would excite fans. Don't worry about him as Killmonger when the universe is rebuilt. No one will remember he was that Killmonger. Ricardo said, it's hard for me to accept when I hear they're using such and such comic as a reference, but I know better at the end of the day.
That part.
Yeah. It's kind of like Matt Shackman's most recent comments when he said, while writing this, he kept thinking of Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four comics and while writing and the plot and everything like that. Maybe, we'll see. The Culture Made said, I will take Michael B. Jordan as T'Challa in Secret Wars and Doomsday, but when that soft reboot comes, we need a new face, a bit darker than Michael B. Jordan. Ricardo said, I truly believe Michael B. Jordan does understand the importance of T'Challa. Maybe he does, like I said, I don't know, maybe he had those conversations. He would have to. I mean, he was there at the interview, right, with Sway, when Chad broke down. I think he was. Ricardo said he's a huge anime head, so it's not far-fetched that he's got some decent comic knowledge / understanding. Zen said they did it in What If? I was talking about the whole multiversal.
Yeah.
Lauren said, yeah, he had the Infinity Stones. He was BP. That's right. I remember that. Culture Made channel said, can't lie too, the way they wrote the new Killmonger, he made more of an impression on me than Chadwick, but Chad was the Black Panther. You're talking about in the first movie? Obviously. The only other thing is the Wakanda Forever. Yeah. Bird said, it's not like we're asking for a storyline to be 100% comic accurate. We're just asking for characters to return. That's not a big ask. T'Challa should return. Completely agree.
I agree.
That's when Cornelius joined. Culture said, not beefing over colorism, I just think that a lot of other Black heroes will be brown. T'Challa should be darker, no offense to anyone. No one should take offense to that. That is just...
I mean, when I think of T'Challa, I think of a dark Black man. Yeah, same thing with Green Lantern John Stewart. I think of a dark Black man, bright green eyes.
Xavier said, I'm willing to accept a lot as long as we get the proper T'Challa character back. And SJ said, I could see Michael B. Jordan playing a T'Challa variant. They are open, but they have opened the door for that with RDJ Doom. Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Okay.
The culture said, exactly, no, Pierre. Let Green Eyes play Green Lantern. Yeah, I'm telling you.
I mean,
I never believed that. I never believed that.
I mean,
doesn't mean it's still off the table. Or, that'd be wild. Lauren said, Mr. Terrific, actor, Eddie.
I mean, sorry, wouldn't that technically, like, I don't even think they would be able to, because wouldn't that technically be like a conflict of interest, since he's working for like a different company that's, i.e., the same thing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like most jobs, you know, like you go to some jobs and they like basically have it in their contract, like you cannot work for, like, for example, if you work at an Ulta, you cannot work at a Sephora, you cannot work at a Mac, like you have to work for Ulta, and then you have to be let go or fired for a certain amount of time before you can go over to another company because of like conflicts of interest. Wouldn't that technically be the same thing for Pierre?
The rebuttal is James Gunn. He's already talked with Guardians of the Galaxy cast members that possibly will be returning in the MCU, that will be characters in his DC universe. So,
okay, well,
not necessarily.
Shit. All right, then, never mind.
But it doesn't. I mean, I don't know, depending on contracts, scheduling, things like that. But just using Gunn as a reference, he's already talked with people from what we've heard.
He said, "I'm getting everybody."
Xavier said, doubling down on the child is wild. Culture Made Channel said, no, Michael B. Jordan will put cheeks in seats. That's not a lie.
That man is fine, okay? And he'd be putting his foot in it.
My angle was his popularity, but it's not a lie.
It's not a lie. He's just a good actor too. Like anything you give this man, he puts his foot in it.
Yeah, he's definitely
and he's attractive,
popular, so for sure.
But I can look at that man all day. It's annoying.
Patrick said, hopefully when they rebuild the universe, the kid will be gone. Neri said it'll be foolish to have him as a youngster Avenger or keep the child. Yeah, who knows? Yeah,
we got to chill on this kid though.
Lauren said Michael B. Jordan already hot. He would cast cost a lot. Sorry. Yeah. Yes. He would cost a lot, but I mean, this is we already know this is a very ambitious film, so the film cost a lot.
And ain't nobody getting paid more than RDJ, so at this point they're like, if we can spend that much, whatever we have to spend to get this person, it's gonna be nothing.
Launch Report said, wouldn't be surprised if Michael B. Jordan steps into the Panther suit due to how close he and Chad were. This is up Marvel's alley. Yeah, I completely agree with that. That's what I'm saying. This is completely on par with them. Nothing's official or anything like that, but I'm more so inclined to believe this than I am the kid. This is just on par with them. He was best friends with Chad. He has appeared in other things outside of the first Black Panther film, still tied to Wakanda as Killmonger.
Right.
I mean, yeah. He's
made money in every box office, like, you know what I mean? Has hit numbers in every box office he's been in since that movie.
Yeah. So I don't know. It just seems more likely. Neri said Michael B. Jordan as good Killmonger. I can see them doing that. Yeah. Bird said Ben thought the variant was coming. It made the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
Joe James said Michael B. is your new Black Panther in-house. Is correct, Darius. Possibly. I mean, I think I don't know about as far as like the reboot or anything like that, but I do think, I think that'll be the case for the next 2 Avenger films. Culture Mate said that makes sense. I heard at one point Ryan wanted to tell a story. Yes, a father and son with T'Challa and Tucson. Yeah, at one point in time, that was what it was. At one point in time, that's what it was. The original script, I think it was under the code name Summer Vacation. It was the script that Ryan and Chad wrote together. Chad read over the script a couple of times and things like that. It was going to be a deal where T'Challa was coming back from the blip. It was going to be a blip event after coming back from the blip and being gone. He had the kid, and during that time of being blipped, like a lot of everybody else that was blipped, he lost time, and he lost time with his son. So they were going to go out into the forest and perform a ritual of him becoming a man and things like that, or something like that between the two of them. And something was going to happen that needed, I don't know if it was the Avengers or whatever, something was going to pull and need T'Challa's attention away from Wakanda to where he was going to take his son, who he lost all this time with him on this journey, this action-packed journey. So it was going to be whatever the story was going to be was fleshed out outside of that, but the overall premise was that he was going to be making up for lost time with his son, and the story birthed from that. Whatever we saw was going to be, I guess, the subplot to that, or the main plot, I don't know. But that's what it was at one point in time. So my thought always was, instead of just throwing Chad's last piece of work thing that he actually wrote, notes to and gave his input on how it should be, and this is obviously a character he's talked about, he cares about so much, instead of throwing that away and saying, oh, we're not going to do that, we're going to actually do something really morbid.
His death.
I just thought that was the better idea. Planet Poppy, that's when he said, my time debunked that. SJ said, I think we can have a scenario where Michael B plays a T'Challa variant and Ryan brushes off his OGBP script. Maybe. Lawrence Report said, Michael going to say I was wearing the suit to honor Chad. Just watch. Planet Poppy said, as Cosmic Wonder said, that it's a T'Challa from another universe. Cosmic Wonder as in Warren, the YouTuber Cosmic Wonder? And did Warren say where, and I'm not saying that as, let me rephrase that. That might have sounded condescending and I didn't mean for it to. Did Warren say where he got that information from, that it was a T'Challa? Just from all the scoopers, and I only say all the scoopers because Warren's not a scooper. All the scoopers have said differently. So unless he's got some type of inside source or somebody telling him something different, but hey, maybe, like I said, maybe it's out there. Ricardo said, my time's not Kevin. Lawrence Report said, my time be having the wildest rumors when rent is due at the end of the month, aka engagement forming. I say that on Twitter all the fucking time. Anytime it's a slow day for my time, it's what can I say that's going to stir up the pot and blah, blah, blah. Cornelius also said he believes there's going to be multiple Black Panthers. I think you're multiple Black. Yeah, maybe. You know what? Maybe.
You know what? I'm going to let you live that life.
I was going to say your multiple Black Panthers are really just going to be probably Suri, this variant, and that's it. But maybe. Ty said, and maybe they pull those from, I don't know. Ty said, I would be okay with Michael B, with a Michael B variant 100% over
to Orphan.
To Orphan.
We gotta chill.
I know said, Michael B. Jordan not coming back. Cleve 17 said, Marvel never makes sense.
Not for a while.
And SJ said, I am kind of confused why Darius doesn't think this could be an RDJ situation, i.e., Michael B. does play a T'Challa variant. It very well could be. Very well
Could
could be.
be.
Like I said, I want to be wrong. I do want to be wrong. I don't know.
It could be a lot of different things. We don't know. That's the point.
Planet Bobby said if they can axe Love in Thor 5, they can axe T'Child in B3. Oh yeah, is she being axed in Thor 5? Yeah, they could. They could. Well, I guess my rebuttal to that, and this is just me playing both sides of the fence here. I want the same things you want, but my rebuttal to that is Love was not the Love when Love showed up in that post-credit scene. I think it was a post-credit scene. I don't even remember Love and Thunder. I do remember her, but I don't remember how and when she came in. I know it was at the end. There was no reveal that this character, this kid is going to go on to be anything greater. The implication at the end of Wakanda Forever was that because we killed T'Challa and we made that scene so dramatic and so personal, and we had him say his Haitian name first, then to reveal that I'm named after my father, T'Challa. I feel like the implication is this character has a bigger future than that of a character that was just running into, or that was living with Thor and Thor's punishing her or something at the end of
like whatever it was,
or something. What they were living together. There was nothing. There was nothing that implied a larger future for Love.
Yeah, that she was taking over his mantle. That she was going to be the next God of Thunder. Like there was no indication of that whatsoever compared to T'Child with Black Panther 2.
Yeah, but possibly. SJ said the odds for T'Challa recast are inversely proportional with F4 box office. He is more likely to get recast if Kevin Feige is scared.
I think Kevin Feige's been scared of the recast and recasting T'Challa since that second movie came out. I think he knew that shit was going to cause a commotion from the jump.
Dr. Teddy McLovin said he's the Michael B. Jordan. He's the Michael B. Jordan is Marvel guy. Michael B. Jordan is Marvel's guy. He's the black guy on deck that everybody likes him. I can see this. So basically saying that he is the token Robin, the token. They're the token. Blah blah blah. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely got a foot in the door for sure. I mean, I definitely see it. Patrick said, it still may be John David Washington as the new Black Panther. Possibly, could be, maybe they unveil him. Cornelius said, it's not even that. I think all options are present and we're discussing. Yeah, that's why we are here Monday through Friday. And that's why, we talk about these things. It's definitely all on the table, definitely up for discussion. No one has any insights unless you work for Marvel. Again, as I always say when we talk about this, and I know when
all of it's a great assault.
Like this, it is. I'm a pragmatic person. I look at things as they are. I can't. It's just not my personality to go off of other things than what I see. But we'll see. The Culture Maid said, "Can't lie. I'm a loyalist, and I can't help it. I love Marvel for their depiction of heroes." Cleve 17 said, "I have no faith in Marvel. It's been a while since Marvel put something out that had me hyped since Endgame."
That part.
Dr. J. McLevin said, "I can even see them saying that Michael B. Jordan is the child of Denzel Washington, is playing the brother that was killed in the first one as an older child because the big brother died." Definitely saying, like I said, there's, as we just said with Cornelius's comment, nothing's off the table. Culture said, but when Coogler is asked, now he's able to laugh it off when before he couldn't make me think the recast is coming. Maybe. Yeah, he has had those interviews and I guess pivoted and laughed it off. SJ said, "To be fair, I believe most of us think things might have changed because the MCU had 2 flops, and F4 might flop as well. Desperation increases the odds of T'Challa." Mano said, Marvel is going to put the Black Panther character back on the shelf after the third movie. They will delay it as much as they can. Ty Valentine said they could recast tomorrow and fire him in 2026 over an allegation, and we will be back at square one in 2027. Fluid.
I mean, listen.
Dr. Teddy McLevin said, I can even see them making Michael B. Jordan T'Challa, and his father was the king of the universe, which is Denzel. Cleve 17 said, yeah, I think after 3, no more T'Challa. What do we mean after 3? After the third one?
Like after Black Panther 3, no more T'Challa. Honey, there's been no more T'Challa since 2, since after 1.
Always turn up for the king. SJ said D23 is at the end of August, so any casting announcements could occur there. Yeah, that's true too.
Maybe they'll have a little bit more information.
Patrick said, so how do these latest rumors line up with... They don't at all. I'm sorry if I didn't loop that back in when I was talking. They don't at all. With what I was told last June, they don't at all. There's no Jamie Lawson. There's no Damson that we know of. So they don't tie into any package deal.
There you go.
I mean, I don't want to say it, I guess. If I try to give some hope, we still don't know who's playing. Unless it's Halle Berry that actually signs on to be Storm in Doomsday, or what if they get the rest of the cast and blah, blah, blah. And if she's the Storm in that universe, then is that, so that then takes away the role of Jamie Lawson as Storm in that universe, which then takes away the package deal of Jamie Lawson. So I don't know. We'll see. Patrick said, nothing I've seen of Fantastic Four looks interesting. And Andre said, at this point, anything is possible with the MCU. I have no faith that they will do an X-Men right. I hope to be proven wrong. Katrina said, T'Challa is done in the MCU, unfortunately. Will not watch new films until they recast T'Challa, son of T'Chaka. Definitely not watching anything within that Black Panther franchise at all. SJ said, F4 looks and sounds interesting to me, but it seems like it's lacking in broad appeal. Andrew said Spider-Man 4 is going to make money definitely, though it's a Sony movie. But it could help build towards Doomsday, which I do believe it will do. Fingers crossed that it's a Spider-Man and Daredevil team-up. Right now, and again, rumor, that it's being marketed. They're going to market it as a Spider-Man versus Hulk film. And the rumor is he's supposed to revert back to Savage Hulk in that.
God, I hope so.
There's so many different things about Spider-Man 4.
I need this guy right here. I need that guy. That's who I need to show the fuck up, please, for the love of Christ. Because the last time we saw him was in She-Hulk.
Yeah. Which is
and
crazy.
If I get that same Hulk, I swear, I'm going to lose my shit.
That's crazy. The Culture said, also, anyone who can beat the Hulk interests me. So Thing is one of my favorite heroes, so I heard he's not in the film that much. I think he's in the film quite a bit. I think that people were complaining he didn't have a Brooklyn accent. Dr. Teddy McLevin said Fantastic Four is leading charge in the family environment, but everybody fall in line with Reed. Will fall in line with Reed. Ricardo said in the trailer she did take charge when Shalabal Silver Surfer pulled up. She did, didn't she? When he said, "Are you the protectors of this world?" She said, "We are." Ricardo also said in most trailers, low-key kind of focus on her a bit more. Now that I'm thinking about it, he said that's annoying. And then he said, "Why doesn't Reed never does like a hammer fist or turn into a big ball? Like it's like in the 2002 when he did multiple different things. Like when they fought, he did multiple different things with his body, like turning himself into that blanket when he blanketed himself over Doctor Doom, wrapping himself around the mailbox postal thing. There's a lot of different things he turned his body into in those
Sorry,
other.
I just realized I was muted. I'm not gonna lie. I low-key want to go watch the old X-Men before I go watch this, or not the old X-Men, but the old Fantastic Four, before I go watch this new Fantastic Four.
They are on Disney Plus. Anybody can watch those. Well, let's see, what was
You're so right. I completely forgot.
Ricardo also said, oh no, that's where we were. Okay. Mino said, I can't stand this multiverse BS. It makes everything so confusing for no reason. Marvel needs to reboot and give us original source material. I think they're ready to reboot too.
I think so. I think that's where they're trying to lead us to.
Cleve 17 said, do you think F4 is better more serious or as an action comedy? I think you can have a blend and do it right with both, but I mean, funny moments. I like the moment, the trailer that they shared with Johnny when, he said you're late because they meet for dinner promptly 7:00 every Sunday. And she's like, when he says we're pregnant, and he has a whole conversation with Reed, we're going to be uncles and da-da-da. I thought that was a good scene with Johnny. But I think it could be a good blend of the two.
So,
Patrick said, I liked it too. He also said, this is the first I heard Reed and the League of seeing him use his power. I mean, come on, not this again. Professor the Film Fan said, I think it will make a little more than Thunderbolts. I agree with Corey. A little more than Thunderbolts? Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so. Dr. Teddy also said, I think you're absolutely right. There is, if there's not gonna, I'm sorry. I think you're absolutely right. They're not going to have good numbers, but if they do it right, they can lay groundwork for Secret Wars and Doomsday. You get as a stepping stone. I think that's definitely. Well, I think that's what they're. Yeah, for.
I think that's the goal.
That's the goal.
I think that's for sure the goal. The question is, are they going to be able to accomplish it?
Cornelia said, haven't seen Thunderbolts. Won't be in a rush to see Fantastic Four. May not even go, to be honest. The stuff isn't that important to me anymore. Yeah. Like I said, a lot of people checked out. A lot of people have checked out. SJ said, I don't see F4 doing less than Captain America 4, so I figure the opening weekend is good enough, but I expect a cliff drop for the second weekend. Maybe so.
Maybe
so. Maybe everybody's on to, Corey's on to something there, and a lot of you, like Zen said, 600 mil. Maybe it does do better than the two of those in its opening weekend. That is definitely hope for them.
Because I know you're saying, like, I know it's even sorry to go back on this, because I get what you're saying when you're saying, like, I think we're kind of out of this phase where people are looking at actors and actresses and kind of going and digging deep into their discography. But I don't know, I kind of disagree. Pedro's been like all over the place the last year. He just got finished with The Last of Us season 2.
That did worse than the first season. But
it did worse than the first season, but they love Pedro, so he did great.
Pedro is also the Mandalorian in Star Wars, and both season 3 and this movie that is coming out with him in it is projected to not to be doing well. Season 3 did awful.
Right. But we also have, it's just the fact that, like, even though these numbers may not be doing well, it's the fact that they're still reoccurring actors and actresses. You know what I mean? Like, we have Joseph Quinn, who is supposedly supposed to be coming back in Stranger Things. They just dropped the newest season. That's coming out this year. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that first weekend is going to have some really great momentum because it's the first family, because they're getting introduced into the MCU, and because, all 4 actors and actresses are very known people and are either just got done with a project or a project is going to be coming out shortly after, if that makes sense. So I think that momentum is what's going to make it strong, but like I said, I think it's going to drop after the first weekend. I don't see it doing very well after that.
Yeah, it could have a $600 million, $500 million opening weekend, and maybe not have legs that second weekend. Yeah, we'll see. Like I really can't wait for it to see what those numbers are going to be.
Because I know I'm going solely for not solely, but I know I'm mostly interested in going and sitting down because of the people that are playing the characters, because I like those actors and actresses, because I like what the characters that they played before, because I know their potential and what they can do. So I don't know. I'm assuming that other people might be the same way.
And I could be wrong. And again, I don't want to shit on anybody's feelings or whatever they're doing or however you think for the film, but I could be wrong too on this. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Has the overall perception, and just from what I've seen on Twitter, and I'm in my own spaces, you could be in different spaces, has the overall perception of Pedro as Reed changed since its announcement? Because when it was announced, since what I've seen some people saying, it kind of fits after seeing the first trailer. I know I was one of the ones that said at the very beginning no, but then after I saw the trailer and some other things, I'm like, okay, maybe. We'll see when the film comes out if he can play the smartest man in the room. But I remember overall perceptions, and again, I'm not trying to shit on anybody's anything like that. Just overall perceptions of Pedro at the very beginning weren't high. People weren't excited to have Pedro as Reed. A lot of people did not think Pedro could play Reed.
Right.
But again, we shall see how it goes. If it has that 500, 600, or upwards of that, somebody said 700, 800 in the comments. I don't remember who said that. First weekend or just overall, that's what they're aiming for. But again, we'll see. July. Man, I can't. When that first article drops, it's not going to be for me because I want to talk about it. It ain't going to be just a post on Twitter. I want to get on and I want to talk about whether the numbers are high or low or in between. Mm-hmm. I've never been this interested for box office because, quite frankly, I really give a fuck about box offices like that unless it's a film I really, really care about. Right. With actors and directors and things but this one I'm very curious, so curious what this is going to look like. Patrick, I'm sorry, I didn't read SJ. Speaking of Kate Bishop, I wonder how they try to use her, laugh my ass off in the MCU. She's supposed to be on the Champions. Yep. Champions, isn't that a series?
Kate Bishop.
Patrick,
New York.
Said Fantastic Four doesn't look exciting. What will make you load up the kids and go see that movie? What did you see in the movie that will make you want to do that? I don't know. Mano said, or go ahead.
I was like, I personally don't plan on taking my kids, so I couldn't tell you.
Mano said, after the first corny, dry jokes in Thunderbolts, it was immediately turned off. I immediately turned off. That movie was garbage. Didn't like none of the characters.
Oh, there you go.
Dr. Teddy McLevin said, I'm more excited about the Predator cartoon than the Fantastic Four. I was dropped trailers for that, new teases and things for that. Cornelia said, won't be going to see Superman. And SJ said, I mean, F4 doesn't look like a kid-friendly movie compared to Superman. They marketed those kids pretty, in the first trailer. All the little kids counting down, watching the old-fashioned TV in the 60s retro verse. I don't know. Lottie said, Marvel trying to sneak and make movies with no blacks. Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts. Bombs. Patrick said they need to be showing collectives. The cast in F4 is also mid. Talking to me. Xavier said Disney better stop overspending on their streaming content and think about the theatrical budgets a little better. Well, remember, Vision Quest is supposed to be the last major character from the in-game OG Avengers or any main characters that they're going to be adapting a series around. It's supposed to be all C-tier characters and things like that, like Thunderbolts, Eternals, what that should have been. Mano said, actually more excited to see Superman before Fantastic Four. Xavier said, I don't see Fantastic Four making that much of an impact, so Doomsday and Secret Wars is their last chance to get the casuals back on board.
Yep. Pretty much.
Professor Bumfen said, Disney has recasted a number of characters, but not T'Challa.
Mm, mm.
Culture Mate Channel said, yeah, Michael B. Jordan is a great actor.
A great one. Puts his foot in it every time.
Patrick also said Aaron Pierre is not a good actor. He's only okay. After I saw that movie on Netflix, which was the first, which was the first, and people saying he was really good after watching it, I was like, what the fuck? Soap opera acting.
Well, he's still like, getting his bearings. Let him cook a little bit.
I like Aaron Pierre. Lawrence said maybe they will put Michael B. Jordan Human Torch. I thought that too at one point. I was like, maybe he'll play a variant. Yeah. Professor Flimfin said Michael B. Jordan is a draw, but not big enough to make us forget about T'Challa. Dr. Teddy said, I never believed in abortion, but they need to abort child from our universe.
Bro, we gotta chill on the child.
Andrew said, Corey must have went crazy watching Sinners, seeing two Michael B. Jordans.
I actually have not seen that movie.
Oh, you still have not seen Sinners?
I still have not seen Sinners. Nope, I was gonna go see it, and then someone ruined it for me, and I said, well, I'm pissed off again, so now I'm not gonna go see it. Sometimes I change my mind.
Destiny saw it, didn't she?
I don't think so. My brother saw it. My brother Josh went to go see it, and then he went on a vacation and asked me to go see it with our little brother. And then we got into the conversation of Ryan Coogler, and then he started trolling me about how Black Panther 2 was the best movie he's ever seen. And so I got pissed off, and I was like, I'm not seeing the movie. I just haven't been interested in seeing the movie since.
It's not bad.
And the way social media is, like, sometimes I'm like, do you really need to go actually sit down and see a movie? Because the way y'all just reposting clips, I can literally sit down and watch it right here on Twitter with the 20,000 reposted clips. I got the synopsis of the movie, so I feel like I've seen it. Thank you.
It's leaving theaters soon, I believe. But yeah,
I think this is like its last weekend. I think I was reading.
Still making money too. Neri said Marvel already blew their budget bringing back RDJ, hence why they don't want to pay their actors. Understanding said it's making sense in my opinion. He also said that would have been dope, the whole father-son thing. I think that's where we are now. Cornelius also said, I'm actually glad that didn't work. Sounds bland.
Damn, Cornelius, you're just on one today, huh?
Culture Maid said, yeah, that sounds awesome. I still want that story of father and son. Poppy said, would have made sense if the child was like 13, not 5.
Makes sense.
Cornelius said, why y'all watch that channel? He's very wishy-washy, especially during the Jonathan Majors coverage. Which channel are we talking about? Is that Cosmic? Is that Warren? Michael Nima with a super chat. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Do you ever wonder how much Marvel holds Coogler back, given that his BP films are arguably his weakest films? I don't think Marvel holds him back. I think that I think they give him, as far as control over the Black Panther franchise, I think they give him, free reign to do what he wants to do, as long as it's not, interfering with other character stories and things like that. But it's, as far as the crafting of the Black Panther in the MCU, the future, those characters, that's all in Coogler's hands. So I don't think that they really hold him back.
No.
Yeah, I don't think they hold him back at all. Remember, I think it was him and Nate Moore that decided in minutes that they weren't going to recast him. So, and Marvel let him decide that. And his name was also floating in the rumors of Secret Wars and possibly even the X-Men at one point in time. So they seem to really like him. Planet said, I can't remember if he mentioned his source or not. Cosmic. Let's see. He also, Lauren said, I need a DNA test. Nakia is a villain in the comics, and we don't know who she was sleeping with over those last few years. Yeah. The Culture said, yeah, Love didn't even have lines, did she? She was there because that's Chris's real daughter, I think. Is it? Mm-hmm. I don't know. And I think anything that really happened in Love and Thunder, I don't really know that any of that stuff is going to be referenced at all. I mean, relevant to Doomsday or anything
Right.
like that. Cornelia said, Toussaint is someone else's kid. I'm standing by it. I'm talking to Lawrence. Ricardo said, good night, folks. Got to get ready for work in the morning. Feel that. Culture Mate said, Ricardo. I'm talking to Ricardo. Let's see. Not me. Patrick said, I felt T-Bolts had a Phase 1 feel, and they made me like Sentry, who I did not like in the comics. It definitely was a return. It felt like a return to form. It felt like a return to somewhat trying to get back to, making good films. Chill said, Michael B. Jordan in Doomsday. He unmasked for Suri. Hey, are you Uncle T'Challa's daughter? Track Connect said, doesn't it almost feel like Marvel is doing the opposite of what we like on purpose?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just have their own story they want to tell. This is not, they say it's the 616 comics, in my opinion, is the 616 universe, but they say that this is the 616 universe, and I think within their cinematic universe, they want to do what they want to do. And it's kind of been proven that they want to do what they want to do. With film after film, they're going to, it's their universe.
The MCU. MCU's gonna MCU.
The Culture Made said, I got love for Supes and Shazam, but the idea of DC heroes being gods don't really fit me. And I can't stand by Batman /
Gadget Man.
But what do you say? But the idea of DC heroes being gods. Okay. Let's see. The Culture Made also said, Savage Hulk is coming back. Yeah, he's got to. Appreciate your stamina. Zen said, Marvel is looking like Eddie King from the 5 Heartbeats after the fall. Speaking of that, I don't know if everybody is still paying attention to. Nope, sorry, they're watching Temptations, not the 5 Heartbeats. Paying attention to the Cinema Blend, Cinema Pals, the ones that were reacting to all the black film. They're still doing it, reacting to all the black films and series, and I think they're doing like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Living Color, Martin, and stuff like that. I really appreciate Jabby and Michael that watch those or doing those, because it's like genuine. Outside of all the ones that started copying them doing it, you guys remember I was on like a whole thing about this when they first started. But they actually are genuine with their stuff, or with their watches of it. But that made me think of them. But no, there's Temptations that they're watching currently, or that they just put out. Fresh Film Fan said, I have never seen a leading comic book character more disrespected by a studio than T'Challa. It's very sad.
Man.
Gray said, if a multi-billion-dollar video game company has had an epiphany that their project wasn't going to work without the main character, then I think the billion-dollar studio has had the same epiphany. I would hope so.
You would think.
I would hope so. Culture said,
I've already watched
the Michael B. Jordan one. Haven't. What is it?
Oh, I was talking about rewatching the Fantastic Fours before I go see this one in theaters.
Oh.
So you must have been. I've already seen all of them.
Yeah, that one.
Not my favorite, but I'll still look at them. I'll look at them back then. I'm gonna look at them now.
So the last best thing Marvel did was X-Men 97. And that was a cartoon, which again was close to source material. I really liked X-Men 97.
X-Men 97 was so good.
Had its little nitpicks with it, but it was a good show. Culture Made Channel said no, people did not think he was a good fit for Reed.
Talking about Pedro.
Antonio said, I still don't like Pedro as Reed. He's a good actor. I hope the story is good. Vincent said, nah, not yet. Mano said, actually would have liked to see George Clooney play that role. I was on the Penn Badgley train for a while.
I was on Penn's train for a long time. I still am. I think he would have made a fantastic.
Looks-wise, yes.
Look-wise.
And he plays as smartest man, possibly.
Possibly. I mean, Joe's intelligent to a certain extent.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
to a certain extent, not Reed and stuff. Yeah, I think that I also wanted what's his name. I wanted it until I didn't want it after seeing. Not that I didn't like it in Multiverse of Madness, because I did Krasinski, but I think because we wanted Krasinski so bad, and it was just talked about so much, and then you had Emily get on here and say, "Oh, I don't want to be in spandex for 10 years," and da 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 da. I was just like, I was kind of over the Krasinski's coming in and being Sue and Reed.
I don't think I would have. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Emily Blunt. I don't think I would have agreed with her to be Sue.
Really?
Really?
I was so on board with that, though. Like
I was
the
not.
fan art of her, I was like, oh,
No,
shit.
I just wasn't. I just don't. She has such a dry character. She's just a dry humor. I just didn't see it. But John Krasinski, yes.
And I thought it was perfect because they were their husband and wife in real life.
In real life, yeah, I get that. But
So
like
that
John
love
as
would have really been there.
As Richard, yes. Emily as Sue, though, it wasn't. I would have not been upset to get couples get them because they are a sweetheart of a couple. But she was not my first person as Sue.
Really, I really like Emily Blunt. I thought she would have. Like the fan art too of her, like, she looked good. I liked it. Let's see. Patrick said should have paid Margot. I remember that. You remember that cast? Margot Robbie, Adam Driver.
I do remember
the Jewish guy, light-skinned dude that was supposed to be playing Ben, and I forgot who Johnny was.
I forgot who Johnny was.
I see his face. I can't remember what movie he played in. But yes, I see his face. But yeah, that whole cast. She wanted, he said, should have paid Margot Robbie the money she wanted and hired Penn Badgley. I'm actually really glad we did not get Margot Robbie as Sue.
Me too. That's just too much.
I didn't want Margot Robbie as Sue. Not to say Margot Robbie's not a good actress. I like Margot Robbie a lot.
I think she just got off of like the Barbie. That was like right after Barbie.
Yeah,
because she just got done with like Birds of Prey, and then she had the Barbie role. It was just too much. It was just too much of her in my face at that moment. I was not feeling it.
Love her in Wolf of Wall Street. Just not didn't want her to sue.
I mean, I think she's a phenomenal actress. Anything you throw at her, she does great in.
She is great.
I just did not want to see her as Sue. I was having too much of her at the time.
Stamina said, I'm going to watch all those motherfuckers because they're already paid for. Fuck it. Patrick said, F4 set in the 60s. That wasn't a good time for blacks. That's maybe why we haven't seen many in that's true.
Yeah.
Lawrence said, you not watch Sinners.
The way I'm doing it right now.
He's also said go see it before he leaves. Mina said saw it 3 times. I saw it 3 times as well.
That's great for y'all.
Patrick said, let Aaron cook on a TV series for about 5 to 7 years. Damn.
That's a long time.
Professor Film Fan said, I am happy we are getting Jon Stewart, but Aaron wasn't in my top 3 picks.
Because we could have taken the eyes that man has naturally and turned them into contact lenses. We could have done that. I seen it done on Charlie's Angels. The first movie.
Culture said, I fucks with J Bay too. Who's J Bay?
Didn't tell you.
Tell me that one. Penn Badgley. Antonio Film said Penn Badgley for sure looks like Reed. Zen said John Hamm from Mad Men would be a good read.
Let me see. John Hamm.
Also, Lauren said Austin Butler's Human Torch. He wanted Margot Robbie as Sue.
Oh, snap. You know? I wouldn't have been mad about it. John Hamm. I would have not been mad about that.
No, I wouldn't have been mad about it either.
No. That's a handsome man right there. That's a handsome old man right there. I need to get off the screen. That's a handsome woman right there.
A lot of names that were floated around during. A lot of names during that time that was for the Reed stuff. What was the dude from Lucifer? He was floated around.
Tom Ellis. Oh,
Yeah, he was floated around at one point too.
that's my baby. I love him so much.
Patrick said, I second it. John is Reed. Yes. Emily is Sue. Nah.
Thank you, Patrick. Shout out to you.
Track Connect said, I see Sydney. Is Sydney Sweetie to Uddy to be in a Marvel film or to be in Marvel? Well, with the cell, bath, water, and all.
Oh, you know Disney would have shut that down.
No.
It would have been like, girl,
she could still
do you
play
need to be locked up? Are you okay?
Chef Seven said, Ham is more believable than Pedro as Reed. That's for sure. I'm looking at it.
For sure.
Looking at it.
I mean, I love me some Pedro. Don't get me wrong. I'm very curious to see how he plays this character. I think we're going to see a very sensitive Reed, very nurturing
Reed,
a very loving Reed. But that's not the Reed I'm looking for. I'm looking for the smartest man.
They've not. Interesting. Yeah, well, we will see in July. Lawrence also says Sydney Sweeney as Sue Nam, more like Black Cat. Yeah, I could definitely see her as Black Cat. That way you could have, well, if Marvel went that route with her outfit, you could definitely have her have the sex appeal and things like that and blah, 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 for sure.
All right.
For sure.
That's about it, though.
Yeah, that is... Yeah, that's it. All right, so we appreciate every single one of you guys commenting and hanging out with us, and the super chats from Michael Nemo, from Brian Fisher, and we also had it from I Am Too Fly. Appreciate you guys so very much for the supers. Appreciate every single one of you guys for engaging with us in the comment section and having questions and talking back and forth with us, and everybody watching currently. If you haven't liked this video, go ahead and like it. If you haven't subscribed and you like what you saw on tonight's stream, go ahead and subscribe. We try to do this Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Fridays. On Thursdays, I am live with Marcus and Chillmonger from their respective channels on the Pantheon stream. You can join us there at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on those days. On Thursdays, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, we are here at 8:30 Central Standard Time. And we'll be back tomorrow with more news and things that come out. If anything comes out tomorrow, it's not a slow news day. I will be with you guys then. Corey, any final thoughts?
No, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you for allowing us to hang out with you. And I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow.
Show. Appreciate every single one of you guys. Again, if you haven't liked this video, go ahead and do so. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Thank you guys very much, as I always say. Really, I mean, we had, I think, over at one point, almost 80 people in here. So definitely appreciate it. Definitely growing. Always. New people to the community. It's always appreciated. Yes. For the viewers that have been here since day one, you know who you are. Thank you. For the viewers that have been here since day 2, thank you. If this is your second day here, third day here, week here, whatever, appreciate it so very much. And all of you that are always in the comments, giving feedback, giving your opinion, it's very much appreciated. Love this community. Love every single one of you very much. So thank you very much. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. We will see all of you guys in the next video.
Bye.
Peace out.